Hey everybody, it's Jessica Harris, and I am the creator and founder of Ignite Your Glow. And I'm super pumped and excited because today we're going to be talking about completion. Oh my goodness, completion, completion, completion. Completion is truly far better and far greater than perfection. Yes, it really is. And I wanted to bring this up because I just finished completing another project. And I am just mind blown right now of just having it in front of me, having it here in my hands. And I'm just like, whoa, mind blown. Because it was one thing to have it as an idea, it's one thing to write it down, it's one thing to start forming it together, but nothing beats having the final project right in your hands. Without further ado, I wanted to present to each and every one of you my latest project, Pain Tried to Bury Me Alive, but God Revived Me. This book is so just amazing. It has so many gems inside there, and I'm just amazed at how God is just that good, that He has allowed not just the transformation to take place, but just allowing how God comes in and shapes things differently. He'll take what you had, he'll mold it, and he molds it until it's to his perfected way. When I first wrote it, I had a draft that I looked at daily, and I just felt like something needed to change, but I couldn't quite get my fingers to be put upon it. I put it down for a few weeks. And when I picked it back up, the new year had rolled in and we had just started the month of January. I looked at the project and I knew that what I had wrote couldn't be what I produced. It couldn't be the end result. It didn't feel right. I went to God and I said, God, this is what you've handed me to complete, but what I have isn't it. So I went on a journey of starting over. But I didn't just start over from scratch, but I did start over with a blank canvas. I started over with a fresh Word document so I could go ahead and start to extract the important details that I needed from the first rough draft. And as I started to extract, I started to see the formation of what looked like something that could turn into a book. And as I continued tirelessly, effortlessly, for days and nights, I finally had a manuscript of something that was decent, of something that was worth producing, of something that was worth putting out to the world. I set it aside. I gave it room to breathe. I went back to God and I said, God, I believe this is it. Is this the final product? Y'all. God looked at it and he had me go back through it. And I'll never forget. It was the last week of February. And I thought I was just going to be doing final grammatical edits on there. That was not the case by a long shot. Instead of just doing final grammatical edits on there, I found myself redoing the entire book. And there was a point where I paused and I remember texting one of my friends and asking her, hey, when you wrote your books, did you ever get to a point where you were like, you felt like you was about to rewrite it? Because as you would read it, your mind would play something different. And she was like, ooh, sounds like God got some changes for you. And I laughed because I admitted to the fact that I was fighting against those changes. I was like, what do you mean we're shifting what we did here? Little did I know that what I thought was completed was only just getting started. I went over that last weekend of February, and I went through every single chapter with a fine-tooth comb. And I ended up realizing that not only was we rewriting, but we were reorganizing the way that I had the book structured. And I couldn't believe it, but in a matter of a week, I had went from one manuscript to an entirely different one. And it blew my mind that I was able to accomplish such a task as that. As I went into the final edits, I looked at the new product and I couldn't believe just how more amazing it was to look at this new product. I had another friend of mine look it over, and her words were, "This is incredible. This is going to change lives." I knew then why God had me rewrite it. Because what was complete to me was not a finished product in his eyes. It was a completed product, but it wasn't perfected fully in his will just yet. As I continued to move forward, as I continued to just get the pieces in order in the way that it needed to be done, I started to see it form. I started to see the pieces come to life. I started to realize how less it was about me and my journey, and how more it was about helping somebody else get through their journey. And the more I started to see this shift, the more I understood the purpose, the more I understood that what I had been through was nothing more than a roadmap for the journey for somebody else, to allow them to be able to get on the ride of healing so they can go ahead and get through their own process with the tools that I have gained along the way, so they can then add it to their toolbox. The journey wasn't just mine. It was for those who were connected to me. It's for those who are attached to my generation, attached to my lineage, attached to my bloodline. It is for those who needed to get unstuck so they can go ahead and get their healing. See, healing's available. It's freely available to anyone who wants to be healed. But it's up to that person to want to surrender. And it's not just surrendering your mind. It's not just surrendering your life. It's not just surrendering one area, but it's surrendering all of you. And it's not just surrendering today, but tomorrow you're changing your minds. Oh, no. It is the consistent surrender that you do on a daily basis, renewing your mind in Christ daily, renewing your heart in Christ daily, asking him to continue to purify you, asking him to continue to take the old you so it can be renewed fully, continuously asking him to kill the flesh of you so it can truly be embodied with his spirit. Just as we do that with ourselves, I had to do the same thing with my book. My book had to go through a process. It had to go through the molding. It had to go through the pruning. It had to go through the crushing to get everything out of it that did not belong. So what was left would truly be of God. When we think of completion, I don't want you to think of rushing to the final product and just having it done so it can be done. I want you to think of completion as a journey of processes, of doing overs sometimes that have to be done, of having to fine-tooth comb some things and understanding that it may look one way today, but shifting and changing into something different tomorrow. I want you to understand that completion is knowing that completing the first step means that there's another step that comes after that. Completion means that the level you are on has been completed, but that you are not done yet. Because truth be told, you're never done. Not until you are done with this world. And until that takes place, there is so much more to come from you, through you, and in you, and with you, and from you. Completion for us has to have a new definition attached to it. We have to look at completion from a new perspective. We have to look at the word completion of knowing that there's another level that comes to it, that I have to know that because this book is done does not mean that my work is done. No, this just means that my work is getting started. This just means that there's more to the process. This just means that I have to build this out. This just means that there's more books to be birthed out. But it doesn't stop there. This project is completed at level 1. Level 2 now is helping someone else complete their own. And then level 3 and level 4 and so on and so forth. You get the point. It's like one of the ladies and one of the groups that I'm in had compared life to being like, Mario World, right? There's level to this. The game has endless levels. That's what life is. It's just endless levels. And sometimes we may get to a level that looks like a previous level, but the reason why we're doing it again in that sense is because there's something that we may have missed that we need for the next level that we're getting ready to head into. And God forbid we go up there without it, because truly we're going to need it. And sometimes we go through things again because sometimes we got to see if we'll get through it faster. Maybe this time we'll know not to go down path A, but just go straight down path B, because B is much quicker. It'll bypass the roadblocks that were there in the Zane. Oh my goodness, the words just messing up, y'all. I'm on a roll with lane A. It's a process. Just like me doing this here, y'all. It's a process. Y'all are gonna see me mess up. Why? Because it's a process. Nothing is going to be perfect. If I went ahead with my first draft because I thought it was perfect and produced that, I would not have known the levels that God was going to crush it into if I had went with what I thought was completed, what I thought was the perfect manuscript. We have to understand that there is so much more to life than just getting something done. Because who we are in Christ are examples to other people. Who we are in Christ is an assignment that someone needs for them to be able to move forward in what they're doing. I had to learn the hard way that there are times where you can't move from your position because someone is there who needs you before you can move forward. And that means you have to stick it out. That means you have to continue to renew yourself in Christ. That means you continue to go to God looking for the blueprint and understanding what is your purpose at the place or at the position of which you're in. Sometimes that just means you having to be still and trust in the process. When you get to the next level, you have the tools that you need. But sometimes we get caught up because we forgot about the process that it took us to do it the first time. If I don't remember anything regarding how I got this book done, I'm going to be going through some of the same mistakes the second time and third time and fourth and so on times. But because I documented my process from how it started to how it got completed, when I go to my next level, I know what to do. I know how to complete it. I know to expect that God is going to look at it and say, let's fix some stuff. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to God and say, hey, God, so are we good now? And he may say, let's fix some more stuff. But that's now part of my process. I won't be caught off guard when I think that I'm going to be done by February 28th and reality sets in and I'm not done till March 2nd because God said, there's some more crushing I got to do inside that book for you before you can release it. Know where you are in your process. Know that completion is just that. You've completed that part, but know that there's more that comes after it. Know that completion does not mean stop. It does not mean that's it, that's the end, game over. It does not mean that. Not for us, not for those who write, not for those of us who have been assigned to people, not for those of us who are walking in Christ. It does not mean that, because there's always going to be work to do. So that is your tidbit, y'all, on completion. Super pumped and excited. Don't forget to join me on my Instagram at Ignite Your Glow. Another book is getting ready to drop soon. Super pumped and excited for you guys. And what you're going to be doing to ignite your own glows, go ahead and drop it in the comments so I can go ahead and celebrate with you on how you are igniting your glow. And this is Jessica, and I'm out.